I'm Lee Chasalow. I started in the restaurant business at a pretty young age. One of my first jobs was in the restaurant business, pretty much never turned back since then. Did it throughout high school, and then I went to a little bit of college and then decided to go to the Culinary Institute of America up in Hyde Park and just loved that. I did work in the kitchens for a while, but pretty quickly, within a few years, was running restaurants, then went back to school, got my hotel degree from UMass, and then started working in the front of the house, running restaurants, and eventually started building restaurants for other people, opened my own restaurant, and discovered that I loved the whole process of design and kind of conceptualizing restaurants, and then really spent a lot of my career getting them up and running. Then about 30 something years into it, I had the opportunity to go work for a wine company. Eventually became the CFO for this wine company, went back, got my MBA, did that for 9 years. But COVID kind of changed everything. I realized, once we all went home for COVID, that I didn't really like sitting behind a desk so much. About a year into COVID, I was lucky enough to meet Ben and kind of got into that whole world of food events and HDC, Food Makes Friends, and that's just been an amazing experience for me. I thought I was just going to be providing wine, but the first event I went to where I thought I was going to show up with some wine to serve to the guests, Ben kind of said to me, "Oh, go over there and prep that food, and I need you to work this station tonight." I was like, okay, I guess it's a good thing I have some cooking experience. And I've just been doing it ever since. Now I love having Ben tell me what to do all the time. Now I'm a partner at VOS Selections, who provided all these fantastic wines for you tonight. But I also get to cook a lot, and I couldn't think of anything I'd rather be doing. I come from a big family. We were always cooking. We were always, trying to one-up each other. My mother was always in the kitchen cooking. And my food taste really evolved when I started going out to eat, of course, when I went to cooking school and I started to experience the world. And I was in a mode where I worked at a restaurant where we did tasting menus, and it was 5-course tasting menus with wine pairings, or 7-course tasting menus with wine pairings, and very formal service. And I love doing that, and I still love seeing the drama and the elegance of really great service in a fine dining restaurant. But I have to say that for me, the food events like we're experiencing tonight, where it's experiential, and you go to different venues, and you get to either cook over an open fire or watch the food being cooked the way we're doing it tonight. To me, that's much more exciting than going into a restaurant that's kind of doing everything by the book, where you sit down, you're served a first course, the second course, etc. Here, you get to experience it, you get to see what's going on, you get to watch the people cooking. That to me is a much more exciting way to eat, and I think that's where the food world is going. And I'm happy to be a part of that evolution of food. I think it's easy to get intimidated by wine because there's so many regions, there's so many different grapes, people make it seem so complicated sometimes, but it doesn't have to be. Most people can taste a glass of wine and pretty much immediately know whether they love it or hate it or just like it. And you can really use common sense when you're doing pairings, like the things that we did to pair these wines with the food. Some of it was from our experience, but a lot of it was just, hey, this is a big American Pinot Noir. What does this go with? Like, what do I want to eat with this when I taste it? You don't have to overthink it. You don't have to worry about what anybody else thinks. Just taste the wine and then decide what you want to eat with it. I mean, it's pretty hard to get it wrong. Oh boy, my favorite food and wine combo. That's like when people ask me what my favorite wine is. That's like asking me who's my favorite child. My children always try to get me to answer that question, but I don't have a favorite. And that's true with wine too. I don't really have I don't have a favorite. You know, if someone said you can only drink one wine for the rest of your life, it'd be really impossible to answer. But I do think about certain wines with certain foods. For me, if I'm having lamb, I automatically think about things like, you know, Rhone wines. Maybe it's Côte de Rhone, or, you know, Châteauneuf. I happen to love Chinon, which is from a Cabernet Franc from the Loire. Not something we're having tonight, but I love the earthiness of it. So, you know, I love game with something like that. I love game birds. I particularly love duck and goose, and I love Burgundy. So I love Pinot Noir with those types of meats. There's nothing like oysters in Muscadet or even oysters in Champagne. That's basically heaven as far as I'm concerned. So dessert wines, you know, people don't think a lot about dessert wines, but certainly, you know, some great cheese with a sauterne, or just the orgasmic experience of drinking a Trockenbeeren or an ice wine. Really, you can't match that. That's just heaven as far as I'm concerned. So in designing menus, something that I think we all think about now is trying to get things that are in season and local. A simple example is strawberries, right? You can get strawberries year round, but you probably shouldn't. Or tomatoes. I only want to eat Jersey tomatoes. I don't want to eat tomatoes year round. I'm sorry, just not something I want to do. So I really think about that a lot when I'm designing a menu. We did something really kind of outside the box with the way we did this dinner. It was a little uncomfortable for me, but I got comfortable with it. Instead of saying, here's the menu, pick the wines, we said, here are the wines, pick the menu. So it was a lot of fun. That's a tough question. I mean, for me, it's intuitive. I'm having a lighter type of food, I'm gonna have a lighter type of wine. I'm having a big, rich game bird, I'm gonna do a big, rich wine with it, or, you know, something that complements it well, I think. And, you know, I don't think that, at least for me, it's not about the chemistry of it, because I don't think I could do that even if I wanted to. I met Ben at Ironbound Farms. We had been going there for a while and watched the evolution of that place from tacos and hot dogs to one of the best restaurants in New Jersey, as far as I'm concerned. And we went to a wine dinner there. Ben was cooking with Alec and a bunch of other people, and we just watched this food come out in front of us. I don't know, it was like 15 courses or something crazy, like Ben always does. And you know, we just started to fall in love with the whole thing of, we were looking for something new where it's not just, as I said, just not going into a restaurant and having the same kind of, here's our appetizer, here's our main course, here's dessert, thank you very much, go home. The experiential aspect of that kind of dinner, or the kind of dinner we're doing tonight, is, I really think it's where the world is going. You know, you're starting to see these pop-ups, wine events, wine and food events. It's so exciting. It's so exciting to see people come together, having a chef that you might not be able to go to his restaurant, but you can go when he's doing an event somewhere special. Sitting outside in such a beautiful location like this, and being able to eat and hang out with people and smell the fire and taste wines you wouldn't be able to necessarily taste all of in a restaurant is really exciting, and I hope that this trend continues.